Today we're going to talk about the XCR-L and some of the caliber conversion kits and show how to change caliber with these kits. This is an XCR-L. There's just kind of a couple safety things I always like to talk about. Number one, always wear your safety glasses while you're taking guns apart. There may be springs and things that pop out at you. First of all, let's just talk about safety, about how to make sure the rifle's ready to fire. It's got a really nice takedown button, which is really easy to open the gun up with. But when you put the gun back together, make sure that the takedown button is flush with the seam between the upper and lower receivers, okay? That's really important to do. Now we're going to talk a little bit about doing the caliber conversion kit. So you can take a 1/4-inch Allen wrench and you undo the bolt about 3 turns. And then it's good to pull back the charging handle and let the bolt fly forward. You notice the barrel jumped. Sometimes they're in there pretty tight and you have to pull back and let loose a few times, loosen them up, or put it down the floor and really get a good pull on it. I'm just going to pull the barrel right out. That's a 5.56 barrel. And the next thing we're going to convert to is 6.8 SPC. That's a really easy conversion. So I can take my 6.8 SPC barrel, plop it in, and I tighten it up by getting it hand tight and then turning it about 60 to 70 degrees. That's about as far as you can do it by hand. And if you put a torque wrench on there and tested it, that would be equal to about 240 inch-pounds, which we suggest you do. So I would also, after changing the barrel, I've got to change the bolt head. So I'm going to lay the gun down like this, pull out the action, and I'm going to grab the 6.8 bolt, put the 6.8 bolt in, attach it to the carrier, put that back together, and then I have to choose the correct mag, and so I use a 6.8 mag, and I'm ready to go. All right, now we're going to change to 7.62 by 39. So we're going to follow the same procedure and remove the .68 barrel. Okay. You'll notice the gas tube came out a little bit. That's okay. You want to make sure this notch right here, the notch of the gas tube is toward the bottom. Okay, make sure that notch is toward the bottom. And push that in there. Let's see, we're going to get our 7.62 by 39 barrel. Put that in. Tighten it up, again the same way, and try to turn it about 60, 70 degrees, okay? And then on this one, I'm gonna have to change some more parts. I'm not only gonna change the bolt head, but I'm also gonna change the firing pin. So we'll do that really quickly. I'm gonna take out the 6.8 bolt. I'm gonna grab the 7.6, well actually I'm gonna do the firing pin first. I'm gonna grab the firing pin marked 7.62, and I'm gonna push out the old pin. You got to push on the surface to get it going, and then putting the new pin in, you've got to orient it a certain way. There's a slot right there, and that slot has to match the slot in the carrier, and you have to move the recoil buffer out of the way a little bit. You'll notice in here there's actually a little rubber grommet. You want to make sure that's in your carrier to hold, make sure the pin stays in. So then I put on my 7.62 by 39 bolt, and I've got the gun ready to go. Now this time I'm also going to have to use a 7.62 by 39 magazine. And yes, these work flawlessly with 7.62 by 39. No failures. This is a C Products defense mag. They call them Duramags also. That's what you have to use if you're going to shoot the 7.62 by 39. They work flawlessly, whether you get them in 10 or 30 round capacities like that. Now we're going to change out and go to 300 blackout. And we're going to explain that as we go here. The 300 blackout has a shorter gas system. That's if you're going to fire both supersonic and subsonic rounds. It needs a shorter gas system because the pressures are less and it has a harder time cycling without a shorter gas system. So I can stick my finger in here and pull out the gas tube also this time. And I'm going to shut the bolt here, and I'm going to change two things. We were just shooting 7.62 by 7.62 by 39. So I want to go back to the 5.56 firing pin. Might take me a minute here. Get it lined up correctly. Push the pin through. I'm going to use the 5.56 bolt with the 300 blackout, and I need two things. I need a shorter operating rod and a shorter gas tube. So I'm going to put the shorter gas tube in first. Again, I want that notch facing toward the bottom, and I'm going to use, I want to put the barrel in before I put the op rod in. It's easier to do that way. I shove them both down. When I put a new barrel in, it doesn't matter what caliber, I feel, I don't know if you can see it, but there's a little bit of barrel showing, or I can feel it. So that's how you know you've got the barrel in far enough. I didn't mention that before. I get to that now. And you tighten up the barrel the same way. I'm not going to do it full tight. Just a little bit tight just to show you how to do this. Now I want to, again, like I said, I'm going to use a shorter op rod and I used the shorter gas tube already, and that's because, okay, so that's together. It's ready to go. I just used the 5.56 magazine. I don't need any special magazine. 300 blackout works really good. Now, we're going to go over something called the gas system. So the gas system, on the 300 blackout, since the gas system is shorter, the gas valve is inside the upper receiver. And I'm not going to use a firing pin, but you can use a tip of a bullet to turn the valve around to different settings. I don't think I have a round here, but you'd use the tip of a round, with that tip around, turn it to whatever setting. Whatever setting is opposite this little mark on the left side of the gun here. There's a little mark. Whatever number is on the front of that gas dial is what setting you're on. The higher the number, the more the gas. So if I'm shooting subsonic blackout, I'm going to turn this all the way up to setting 7. If I'm using supersonic, I'm going to go down to like setting 4 or so. I might have to be 5 or 2 or 3, whatever. You want to set it so it ejects reliably without throwing the brass too far. Whatever the lowest setting, reliable setting, is the setting you should leave it on. Now, when we have the other barrels in, the gas blocks are exposed, and that means they could be easily turned accidentally. So they have a separate detent right there that you have to push down to turn them. But you want to play around with the gas and set it on the lowest setting that shoots the ammo you're using reliably. Reliably meaning no malfunctions. And if you have some malfunctions, there's a couple different malfunctions you can have. One is if the gas is set too low, it'll put it empty back in the chamber. Now, if that happens, you can look. The bolt is just slightly. The bolt doesn't close quite all the way. You can tell it looks something like that. And what you'll have to do to clear that, don't sit and pound on the charging handle, but rather collapse the stock, grab it by the charging handle, and give it a good hit. Sometimes you have to hit it really hard, and you hit as you're pulling down on the charging handle. Of course, the barrel should be well away from your pointing at anyone or your face or anything like that, or anything or anyone. So that's how you clear it. And then you can turn the gas up, and you want to get on a setting till it cycles and works right. Now, if the gas is set too low, sometimes the bolt will look like that, and there'll be a round with the tip of the bullet above the chamber, and it kind of jammed. It's not a feed issue. It means the gas needs to be set up higher, so that it gets all the way around behind the case. So when it fires, it ejects completely. But you'll see that it'll look like a feed problem, but it's actually the gas is set too low. Well, that's a quick course on the XCR. I hope it's helpful to you guys, and that's all for today. Thank you for watching.